Hello students and my listeners. This is online teaching in St. Charles College. The subject is biology. The topic is autotrophy and heterotrophy. Your teacher is Oji Josephine. Now these are the things we expect you to be able to do at the end of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to name producers and the consumers in aquatic and terrestrial habitats. You are expected to explain the role of producers and herbivores in the ecological systems. Another one is you'll be able to draw food chain containing different trophic levels. Now the lesson. Autotrophy is a phenomenon concerned with food making. You've already learned about photosynthesis. Therefore, the word photosynthesis is a kind of autotrophy, and organisms that make food are autotrophs. They're also called producers. So you find majority of the autotrophs bearing chlorophyll, with which they trap solar energy and convert it to chemical energy. There are some of them that do not trap solar energy. We call them chemosynthetic autotrophs, but all of them are food-making processes. Majority are those that have chlorophyll. So it is like we are centering most of our discussions on photosynthetic autotrophs. Whatever or whoever that eats fruits, vegetables, cereals, and others is taking stored chemical energy, which is produced after photosynthesis. The producers therefore make food and provide same for primary consumers, which otherwise are known as herbivores. Heterotrophy is another term that is concerned with the food consumption. There are various levels of food consumption, different types. The parasites, the holozoic organisms, all of them are heterotrophs. So heterotrophs are organisms that consume food at various levels, saprophytes, all of them are heterotrophs. Those that eat plant materials are herbivores, and the role of the herbivores is to eat producers and provide food for secondary consumers. The secondary consumers, in turn, will eat primary consumers and serve as food to tertiary consumers. Therefore, in all ecosystems, aquatic ecosystem, for example, it has its own producers and the consumers. In fresh water, for example, there are many of these organisms we call algae, some call them phytoplanktons. You have some bigger ones like water lettuce, water lily, Elodia, Ceratophyllum, and the rest of them. And because they are green, they all produce food. You have the ones in the fresh water like river, such as the tadpoles, mosquito larvae, crayfish, ordinary fish of different types, the turtle, and even the crocodiles. These are the consumers that we find there. In other water bodies like the ocean, you have different types too. There you have the whale, the shark, those are the plants. But the example I've written is that of fresh water that is around us. So terrestrial ecological system has its own producers and consumers too. Many that you see around us are in the terrestrial environment. There you have maize, elephant grass, iroko, cassava, yam, tomato, Urena lobata, you have cider, tridax, pumpkin, the one you call green. All of them are producers. The consumers are the various things, the various animals you have around us. Man is an example. You have earthworm, you have chicken, bats, lizards, squirrels, butterfly, housefly, cockroach, all of them are consumers, all in the terrestrial environment. We therefore organize these organisms as they are found naturally in the ecological system or in the community. When we do this, we make food chains. There are these things you must pay attention to. One, the food chain must start with green plants. The green plants are the ones that make this chemical energy and allow it flow through the ecological system. Therefore, the green plants must start. Even if you find in a textbook where the sun is drawn, ignore that sun, write the green plant, for that is the one that converted the solar energy to chemical energy. So in the examples I have, you have the maize that is eaten by caterpillar, that is eaten, and caterpillar taken by chicken, and chicken that is taken by snake. You have banana that is taken by chicken, and chicken supplies food to snake, and snake supplies to hawk. The arrows must be there, and all the arrows must be on one side. That is why we say it is linear relationship. Make sure that you put the arrows anywhere the arrow stops. That is where your mark stops. And if you draw it in wire without the arrows, you've lost all the marks. Another good thing you must pay attention to is that you have to give a natural sequence, something that is natural. For example, it is wrong to write maize first, which is correct because it is a green plant, and write something like cat to follow it. We know cats don't eat maize. Therefore, it becomes a wrong sequence. There are so many others like that. You won't write a thing like banana and write lion to follow it. No, we know it must be a herbivore. So such are the things that will make the food chain wrong. It must be natural. It must not contain the sun. The first thing must be the producers. That is, those food makers must be the first one, whether you are doing it in the water, whether it is that of water or that of land. In water, that's the last example I have. You have algae. Somebody may use phytoplankton, not just planktons. Look at that, not just planktons, because right inside planktons you have phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. The plankton we mean is phytoplankton. Therefore, if you don't write algae, write phytoplankton. Then the next one will be a small organism like mosquito larva that will be eaten by crayfish, could be eaten by fish, and so on. So it has to be in this order before you get it right. So by way of definition, we will now say that a food chain is a linear relationship in which energy is transferred from producers to consumers so that organisms feed on the one preceding it and provide food for the one that is succeeding it. If you do it this way, it is food chain. So the emphasis I still say is that the sun is the source of energy in all ecological systems, but it is not included in the food chain. Our emphasis is on flow of chemical energy only, not solar energy. So the sun, therefore, does not start any food chain. The link between the producer and any member of the food chain is called the trophic level. Some call it energy level. Some call it, there is another way that could be given to it, but it is energy level, it is trophic level. This producer will come first, and that producer will occupy the first trophic level. The herbivores will come second and will occupy the second trophic level. The carnivore, a small carnivore, will be the third. Then any other carnivore may occupy the third and the fifth trophic levels. I have it drawn here. It is a natural food chain, but below it you have the trophic levels. Trophic levels is only talking about the level of feeding, the level of food consumption from the producer to the last in the trophic level. So a food web, another topic. That food web comprises of all the food chains. There is no natural place where you have one thing being eaten by just another one thing. So that is why we say that the autotroph provides food for too many. And here I said about 10 herbivores, and each of these herbivores will be a source of energy to so many carnivores, and one carnivore provides food for another carnivore. It is a kind of interconnected food chains. There is no food chain that has only 2 or 3. You may have up to 5, 10 food chains. So and that will make food web. The summary of what we are discussing is this: that solar energy is the source of energy in all ecosystems. But this solar energy will be converted to food by green plants, and the food made by green plants will flow into the animals by way of consumption. When the animals eat the food, eat the plants, they get the energy, and there is a natural sequence through which this flows. When we show this natural sequence of in chemical energy flow, we have a food chain, and from there we can make what we call food web. So, having learned this, we expect you to answer the following questions to explain the role of the following in a food chain: the role of producers, the role of herbivores. Another, draw food chain containing 4 trophic levels. Another one, write 5 consumers in each of these: aquatic communities and terrestrial communities. Having done this, I expect you to contact me with this number: 0706 937 3818. Thank you for listening. Thank you.